of course, the symposium, and you have taken a long time to come on one of my events, which is not good at all. But now that you're here, this is nice. And of course, yes, little introduction about yourself, then we'll talk about Kyrgyzstan. Yes, Fidana, please tell us about yourself.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where are you from and where you are. My name is Fidana Alieva. I'm from the Kyrgyz Republic, and I work internationally. I am a mediation and negotiation practitioner. This year is quite remarkable for me because it's a 10-year anniversary since I started my mediation practice. I'm a mediator to several international panels, including ADB, Compliance Advisor, Ombudsman, ADR, ODR International, and some others. So this is a brief introduction of myself.
But now you have to answer my question. How is Kyrgyzstan? And a general question.
So Kyrgyzstan is a beautiful country with beautiful mountains, with beautiful weather conditions. We have all 4 seasons. So summer is summer when it's very warm and hot even. Winter is winter. We have snow. So beautiful country. As for mediation practice, we have adopted mediation law in 2017. It is developing step by step, but still we have many things to do. It's quite slow process in developing countries. We're a developing country, but we're putting all our efforts together to make it possible to bring a mediation to a higher level of demand.
And Fidana is in the forefront of that, to take mediation forward in Kyrgyzstan and the world, which is the important part. But tell me, Fidana, how hot does it get? When you say summer is hot, how hot does it become in centigrade?
You mean in summer?
Yeah.
So in summer, we can have up to 40, 45 Celsius.
Okay.
Celsius.
So basically Delhi weather, but you get snow. We don't get snow. We go down to maybe 1 degree or maybe 2 degree, 1 degree. That's the least. So that is a difference. But yes, I think you need that. I think.
But you definitely should visit our country because we have a very beautiful lake called Issyk, and many tourists from different countries come to visit Issyk every year.
So this is where the connection of the World Mediation Circle and the Kyrgyzstan mediation comes. We'll set up that circle, and then we'll have our get together in Kyrgyzstan. But what is the circle? You don't know. That is like I said, that's the sad part, because I keep talking about it, but no one listens to me.
No any explanation of what it is.
Yeah, because no one reads anything that I put out, because I think I put out too much information and I have too many events out there. So no one watches anything. They said, okay, we'll watch it at some time. We'll watch it, but he keeps putting videos out. Now there are more than 450 videos out there. So Fidana is never going to get time, I can understand. So I'll take you through this. So basically, of course, let's put it out there. This is the symposium. So there will be, I think, one more person added to this, because he just sent a message last night. And we had a very interesting session with him. This is Federico. He's in Italy. So I had done a session on Socrates and mediation. So there was a very interesting session. If you get time, please watch that. It's, of course, I mean, I'll send you, I can send you the link also, but otherwise you just have to go onto my channel and search Socrates and mediation, or just on YouTube put Mediator Vikram and Socrates, you'll get that. So we have an interesting lineup. So various parts of the world, but yes, it can always be bigger, but let's see. So of course, this is mediatorvikram.com. So this is where you find the information, all connecting. I'm the most accessible person in the world. You just have to click, send me a message. I'm available. And normally I would get back early. Okay, so this is the support thing where, like I was just telling you, that now I think there's a direction, there's a lot of work to be done. So I said, support, yes. Being a patron, I'll talk about it. So basically, World Mediation Circle, what is it? The idea being, let's put mediation circles in every community, every school, every organization. So right at the local level, there is a mediation circle connect. We develop that. Then that is like a national circle, but they're all part of the World Mediation Circle. So everyone is part of it. So we have these interactions. We have some skill development programs. So Fidana comes and tells us how to ask questions and what are questions and everything. So Fidana does that. Now, the thing is that I want all this to be where mediators actually earn money out of it also. So it's not that, okay, we do a lot of work otherwise. So it started off as saying, okay, it'll all be a gifting thing to start with. So Fidana, people are touched by what you tell them. They should send you a gift. We'll try this for some time. If it doesn't work, we can always charge. Charging for people for do things is the easiest thing to do. But I felt that a lot of people in this world who don't have access to a lot of events and other things, and we want to, of course, want it to grow in every corner of the world. So I said, let's keep it open. Whoever is based on, okay, some people can gift a little more, let them gift a little more. Some people can't, not a problem, but everyone should get access to information. Okay, so basically the idea being this is the kind of mediation that I want to promote, which is a little different from the box, which is being, of course, which is generally put out there. So it's a moral values, principles, ethics-based, humanistic approach to dispute resolution. Because I felt that, of course, I mean, I'm sure in Kyrgyzstan also, mediation is developing through the court system in places where the focus is more on putting a gun on someone's head, that it will take so much time, it will cost you so much, so settle. Now, that's really not the way you want people to get together and collaborate and solve things. So let's look at it. Of course, that might have its own purpose. Of course, there is backlog in courts and people might find that as an easy access. Let them do that. I mean, there is no such one thing that has to be promoted. If people want that, they can go there. But otherwise, we have to create the grassroots movement where at the grassroots level, people want to work with each other. But important thing, Fidana, in that is that you have to identify those with the mediator mindset in those communities. And those are the people we want to take forward. I know there is another whole training industry which is there that will also exist. I'm not saying that that will have its place, but I'm saying there are people who have that mindset at every community level, every family, every school. Those people are already there. So let's take them forward. If skill development for them has to happen, these programs that I'm putting out, they have access to that, so they can always use that. So that's the broad picture. So what we're going to do is we'll start a process of putting together a Kyrgyzstan mediation circle, and let's see how. I mean, I've got a framework in my mind, but it's a work in progress. We'll keep refining it, and we'll take it forward. So of course, you'll find a lot. I mean, on the website, all the information of my shows and all. So I won't take your time on that. So that's the broad idea, Fidana. Comments, suggestions, please tell me. Anything that comes to your mind.
Thank you for sharing. I agree with you in the sense that in post-Soviet countries, in developing countries, it goes quite slow because there are 3 stages for mediation development: innovation, experimentation, and institutionalization. And in post-Soviet countries, people are more focused on the third one, to adapt law as soon as possible. But the second one is more important, experimentation. When we need to explore mediation more deeply, to understand what it is, how it works, how to adapt it to people's mentality, to culture, to legislation system. And unfortunately, this stage is blurred. And as time shows, simply adopting law, it does not promote somehow mediation. There are many countries which achieved a high level of mediation development without any law. And then after, I don't know, 20, 25 years, they adopted law, and law works because they experimented, they explored, and then they adopted law based on the experimentation results.
Because when I look at the law part of it, and I see the way, I mean, in various countries, because through my events and talking to people, I try to dig a little deeper into countries like the US. People talk about mediation for so many years. So I said, let's dig a little deeper, because the thing is that in countries where it's just about developing, let's learn. So then I dug a little deeper, and what we found was that basically once you have, of course, through the courts, lawyers have control over the process and they take it through mediation. They use mediators in the court system, so mediators don't really get anything out of it. And settlement happens. Now, whether, like I said, settlement based on cost and time is not really the way I want to promote it. So that it happened that way, but still that wasn't the first step to start mediation. I mean, everything should happen much before you even go to a lawyer, I feel. So right at that first stage, you should have that environment created, that people have access to people who can assist them in resolving disputes. And I'm saying mediator mindset. I mean, not even I'm not into the qualifications and all that part of it, because people have to trust the person. They can trust anyone. Now, to say that I trust this person, but someone else says, no, you can't trust this person. I'm going to tell you whom you have to trust. I think that's the wrong way to go about the process, because two people to actually trust someone is it's not the normal thing. But two people say, no, we trust this person. That has to be the person to take forward. So,
but we are different. We are different. Which is acceptable, or what is acceptable, or who is acceptable for one person cannot be acceptable for another one, and it's normal. And voluntariness, the principle of voluntariness, gives you a chance to choose, to select any mediator you want and you find appropriate for your particular case.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. That for two people to trust the same person is not a very normal thing. It doesn't happen all the time. But if they do, that is your mediator. So that's the person that so now no law should come in the way to stop anyone from appointing people whom they trust. That's what I'm saying. The law, because in India, we have the best law on mediation, and people in India say we don't have a law on mediation. So it's strange. You find it strange, don't you?
Yeah, quite strange.
Because the word used is conciliation. Because UNCITRAL, we took the UNCITRAL law rules, 1980 rules we adopted in 1996. So we've had a law on mediation. Today, UNCITRAL is, of course, clarified that we are using the word mediation now because this has become a popular word, but there is no difference. Conciliation, mediation are the same thing. In the model law, they've said so very nicely. So people here haven't picked up, but we have the best law.
Actually, there is a difference, but that's a different story. Okay.
No, in relation to the rules and the model law they've put across, because obviously some countries have specifically legislated on conciliation. So they've specifically said this is conciliation and this is mediation. That's a different thing. But the law that we've picked up, very simple, nothing to it. You can appoint whom you want, process goes out the way you want. Important thing is confidentiality without prejudice protected on a nationwide basis for us, which is, you can understand how big our country is. So we have a uniform law and we still have those protected, but everything else flexible. But Fidana, I don't want to take you into that direction, because that's another. The other thing you didn't tell us was that you're a Weinstein Jams fellow also.
Yes, I'm a senior Weinstein Jams fellow, and this is my honor to have this opportunity to join a family of fellows. We have more than 100 now. I attended this program in 2018. And we are still in very strong connection with fellows, with JAMS mediators, and I had a wonderful opportunity to shadow real mediation processes, especially of a remarkable and honorable Judge Denny. So this was my great honor to shadow his mediation process, to benefit from his mediation style, to learn from him.
Well, that's the other the show that I have, Mediator Experiences. I told you that basically it's about it started off only with JAMS fellows and their experience with the fellowship. Now I had Alexandra in that. She's not a JAMS fellow, but she's doing interesting work in relation to what's happening in the Ukraine-Poland border with the refugees coming there. So she's based in France. She's actually specially gone there to work on that. So I had that in that series. That's the only JAMS fellow who's not, I mean, there's not a JAMS fellow on that. So you have to come on that. We'll fix a time for you. I know you're a very busy person, but we still have to find time for this, because look, what you share is actually going to be very useful to people who are looking at mediation as an option for them. Because Leila Olapalli, she's also a JAMS fellow from India. So in the World Mediators Conference, it was a very interesting session that she did, Master Mediators at Work. So she actually took us this, so the shadowing that she did, but on a more generalized observation that she had about the way they go about it on a generalized basis, what they bring into the room and the different types of processes that they have, the way they do it. So similarly, when you share that experience, because look, most people will not get the opportunity that you got to actually shadow these people. They will never get that opportunity. So what you pick up from there is very useful to them. That's the whole idea behind that series, because you've got an experience that only few people will get. So that's the idea.
We should be optimistic. All people have the same opportunities. Just use them.
No, JAMS fellows, how
Open
many?
them.
No, they only take some out of in every year. They take about, it used to be, I think, 20. Now, I think this year is only about 11. So 11 people in the world will get an opportunity once in a year. But you can understand how many people there are in this world. So what I did was actually part of the process that I was doing. I actually put out that if you have a project in relation to mediation, because look, like I said, JAMS can only do a few. But if a lot of people have ideas, because the whole idea of JAMS fellowship is you go back to your country and then you, whatever you learned, you use it there. So I said, all those people who have those ideas, let's put it out that, okay, if you have a project, some people will come in to mentor you. They want to do it financially. They want to give you support another way. So I did put that out. I'm going to push that more through the World Mediation Circle. So that's the idea of Fidana. Now it's philosophy and mediation, your show. Like I said, I'm sitting here listening to you whenever you want me, and I'm here. So please.
So, thank you once more for inviting. And quite interesting topic. Actually, from my point of view, philosophy is something that makes things complex. But at the same time, it gives us a chance to get to the core of any issue, no matter what issue you are considering, to understand more, to get more information, to understand more deeply, and based on this knowledge, to develop the next steps. So, and philosophy is also about asking questions, which I'm fond of. And the main philosophical question, if to relate philosophy to mediation, is what mediation is. May seem quite simple, but not simple indeed. What mediation is? Is it a dispute resolution? Is it an alternative to litigation or arbitration or whatever? Different understandings of mediation based on where are you from, what is your culture, what is your environment, what is your profession, what is your experience, including life experience. From my point of view, mediation can be considered as a technology, as a method, and as a concept. And if to speak about mediation as a concept, I would go beyond dispute resolution. It's not only to resolve the dispute. It's also for prevent a bigger conflict or dispute. And I think those parties who make a decision to engage in mediation, to enter mediation process, first of all, they understand that they really have a chance by mediating their case to prevent a bigger conflict. And this is the main idea. They are more conscious about their issue. I would like to share with you 3 quotes of famous Greek philosophers, and those quotes they are associated for me personally with mediation. The first one is a quote of Epictetus. Epictetus is a well-known Greek philosopher, and his approach, his philosophical approach resonates to me. He says that what happens externally is beyond our control, but we are able to control our thoughts, behavior, and actions. So we as mediators are very conscious, we should be conscious about the way we communicate, the way we design the process. And it also goes to parties, to their consciousness about their behavior. Maybe at some point they are not able to control the problem, the conflict, or a dispute, and that's why they applied for mediation. But at the same time, they have absolute power to control, to manage their emotions, their thoughts, their actions, and this may bring them to very good results and outcomes. So, and as for quote of Epictetus, the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. So when you use mediation, you may come to beautiful solution you have never thought before of. Because mediation is really one of the most constructive ways out of conflict. If to speak about mediation as a dispute resolution method, no matter what problem or issue you encounter. The second quote belongs to Pythagoras. He's also a famous Greek philosopher, a man we should be thankful to for developments in mathematics, in astronomy, and even in music. And his quote is, "Do not say little in many words, but a great deal in few." And it is about, for me personally, it is about mediators' communication style. The way we communicate with parties and their lawyers, if they have lawyers in the process. But what we say and what we ask, we should make a shift in their minds, but not by bringing specific solutions to their case, but by expanding their understanding of what has happened, what is going on at present point, to understand, to listen and to understand to the other party. And the third quote is by Socrates. He's also a man of great insight, integrity, argumentative and powerful advocacy skills. And his quote is, I think this is the best one, which for me personally resonates to mediation. One thing I know, that I know nothing. And this is the source of my wisdom. So we enter mediation process without any assumptions, judgments, prejudice, without any ready solutions, with open mind to listen to parties, to understand their stories, to get valuable information from them, and to help them in using this information to settle their problematic situation. So these were three quotes. And another philosophical dimension in mediation, in my view, is that mediation teaches people. It teaches people to be responsible for their decisions and for their lives. It's not easy, but this is the beauty of mediation.
Very interesting. I think this part, what you said about Socrates, is exactly, if mediators understand that, that would be the ideal situation. That I know nothing is what you have to start with.
Yeah.
And in every way, I think in relation to when people say about biases and everything, stereotyping and all that, I mean, if you know nothing about people, nothing, now we are starting from scratch. I think to be able to do that, I think, Fidana, that's really a challenge, isn't it? How do you do that? And how many people can do that? That's the important part.
Yes, it's quite challenging, but this is the most interesting part of mediation, actually, because what is not easy, what is challenging, and this is interesting. This is what develops us. It's about self-development and development as a whole. It's absolutely not easy, and it really takes time to be open-minded, to be not judgmental. But I must say that if you mediate for years, in some years, you will find out, after several years of practice, you will find out that you are really becoming non-judgmental. You do not judge people by the way they look, the way you speak. Because now, for example, when I speak to anyone, for example, if someone asks for just for advice, like I have this one and that one, what would you recommend? And I always find advantages and disadvantages in both. This is a mediator's mind. And I think it's good to look at everything from at least two perspectives. Even a conflict itself, when I ask people, when I teach people, I ask them, what do you think about conflict? Most of the views, opinions, they contain only negative features of conflict. But conflict is something that makes this shift, that brings changes, that makes us understand that actually there is a need or there is a time for higher level, for something to be changed in my life, in my work, in my professional life, I don't know. So look at everything from at least two perspectives.
No, but when you talk about, like you said, about conflict, I decided that, look, let me focus on disputes. So I call this the dispute resolution revolution, because conflict definitely being a much larger thing, and people like you, of course, will be working on those larger things. For me, it's very focused, very narrow. I said dispute, because look, certain conflicts, of course, conflicts, certain ones should exist, and they are good sometimes. Conflicts are not bad things all the time. They're good things, because if there was no conflict, then either you find out that you create a society where no one is supposed to do anything different. Everyone does the same thing. How does society evolve or people evolve? You need those conflicts. So I'm saying that I don't have to get into that resolution. Important thing, dispute resolution. And I felt that once people are involved in a dispute resolution process, they will take it into their lives and resolve their conflicts, whatever they need to. So little difference in the way I went about it, because I felt that. But I'm saying what interesting thing that came out from the earlier session, actually Andrea was the one who started that process. This was actually looking at philosophy, the meaning of philosophy, and then connecting a philosopher to a mediator. Let me put up the definition that she had put up, and I'll take your thoughts on that. It was very interesting what I found this. So this was a definition that she was put out in front of us. Philosophy is quite unlike any other field. It is unique both in its methods and in the nature and breadth of its subject matter. Philosophy pursues questions in every dimension of human life, and its techniques apply to problems in any field of study or endeavor. No brief definition expresses the richness and variety of philosophy. It may be described in many ways. It is reasoned pursuit of fundamental truths, a quest for understanding, a study of principles of conduct. While I'm reading all this, Fidana, I just put mediation into the picture. Just think of mediation at the same time. It seeks to establish standards of evidence, to provide rational methods of resolving conflicts, and to create techniques for evaluating ideas and arguments. Philosophy develops the capacity to see the world from the perspective of other individuals and other cultures. It enhances one's ability to perceive the relationships among the various fields of study, and it deepens one's sense of the meaning and variety of human experience. Doesn't it, when you read this, isn't that what?
If you replace the word philosophy with mediation, yes, exactly. Just you will read and say, oh, it's about mediation, you know?
Exactly.
But it's from theoretical perspective, maybe yes, but yes, philosophy is a broader field than mediation. And it really may apply to any field, including mediation. But as I said at the beginning, philosophy is something that makes things complex, you know, and not everyone is ready to deal with that. So as for mediation practice, when people come, of course, they do not want to hear about all these like particularities and specific features. They need to get very simple understanding of what mediation is and how it may help to their case and to them.
No, I tell you, I'm developing it because of this that came up in front of us in that thing. And let's look at it from this point of view. Is mediation practical philosophy, and are mediators practical philosophers? So the theoretical part on this end and the practical part on this end.
I'm making things even more complex.
But I just look at thought. Let's develop this thought, because I feel that, look, in terms of what a philosopher is doing, is looking at everything and putting a theory to it. And we are putting that whole thing into practice. Everything else remaining the same, looking at human nature and the diverse aspect of it and culture and everything, but not to put it into words, but put it into action and actually to resolve. Because of course they are looking at it from a theoretical perspective, because you want to put a message out there and people should pick up what they want from it and then take it forward themselves. And here there is a person who's in that environment doing it with them. So I don't know, this is just a thought, Fidana. We're developing it. I don't know the answer, but I just felt it was very interesting.
No, it's interesting, and the topic is really interesting. And I mean, when you invited me, I really start thinking about philosophy of mediation, because as a practitioner, you do not think about these things quite often. Some do, I don't. I'm more focused on practical part of mediation. So it really makes us think what mediation is, because there are so many different understandings and perceptions of what it is and how it works. As I said, as a concept, for me personally, it's a broader thing, not only to resolve a dispute, but also to prevent it. There is deal mediation, there is a project mediation, which is actually not about resolving disputes. It's about preventing disputes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So different dimensions of mediation. And if to apply a philosophical approach to mediation, we need to keep in mind these two, I mean, deal mediation and project mediation, as ways to prevent conflict, not only to resolve. Because in my view, if you if you demonstrate that mediation is really capable of preventing disputes, it will gain more trust as a dispute resolution method.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. But this is something that I also, in terms of specifically deal mediation and project mediation, I feel that's something that really people should understand. If they can put it into place, you'll prevent a lot of things from escalating. And in relation to deal mediation, I keep saying that if you get in a person to put in a fair contract and a reasonable, everyone's reasonable in the whole thing, that's a good long-term relationship also, and implementation of the contract also, because you've considered everyone's point of view. So it's very important aspects that we need to develop. But still, I tell you why I'm talking about mediator as a philosopher, or why, because I keep saying that mediators are special. And the fact that I mean, if people might get offended, I keep saying that if they have got offended, I don't know, but I say that mediators are not made in 40-hour factories. There is so much that goes into being that person, which means that in terms of looking at people, relationships, your own value system. So it all starts from even at the point of time when you come into this world, the environment which you grow up in, which is why that series, that evolution of a mediator series, started only on that basis. That let's put it out there that say Ken Cloke, we started with Ken Cloke, his whole life, his growing up and everything, because that side gets missed out. We look at the person and what he writes. Okay, he's picked it all up over the years, but him as a person and how he is, why he is who he is, and what experiences he's had, those are important. So it's a lot that makes Fidana what she is. It's not as simple as saying that, oh, Fidana went for this course on mediation and now she became a mediator. No, Fidana, growing up, her family, even down to your grandparents, what value system that they bring, what your parents brought in, what environment you were with, what interactions you had. There's so much. I mean, I'm saying you demean mediators by saying that we'll make you a mediator in a 40-hour factory. Are you demeaning them? Because there is so much more that goes into them. Your thoughts, I'm sure.
And your words can be proved by mediation training. When I can tell you from my practice as a trainer, when out of, let's say, 12 or 13 participants of mediation training, only 2 or 3 become mediators.
Absolutely.
Because yes, you can become formally, you can have this certificate, but you are not ready to mediate. it's also about specific talent, specific skills, and mediation is a set of skills. And if you don't have it, even attending a training, you will not become a mediator in a whole sense of this word, not just formally.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we were, like I was saying, that how many people can actually say that I know nothing? How many people can actually even say that, and how many can put it into practice? Because everyone's bringing in something there. So I think that's why there's special people. That's what I keep saying.
You know, very often people shy to say that I know nothing, or I know this thing, or I don't know that thing. And mediation taught me personally to be honest with myself. And if I don't know, I may ask. I may ask a question. It's my right. And if somebody thinks, oh, she does not know this, okay, you also don't know something, and it's okay. For me, it's okay. And if I don't know something, I can ask. Of course, it depends on whom you ask and the reaction of the person, but it's okay when you don't know. You know nothing, or you don't know anything. It's absolutely okay. And as for mediation, yes, you need to be, and it's quite challenging. I mean, especially for lawyers who have extensive experience as lawyers, as advocates, as counsels, for them it's quite challenging to enter mediation process with open mind, just like I know nothing. Actually, reading the material, most of them, they have a specific picture of how it could be, puzzles, and I will combine all of them into picture and present to parties. No, it does not work. Because open-mindedness, this is the thing this is a feature that gives parties opportunity to come to absolutely beautiful solutions that they even did not consider before. They did not know that it is possible in that way or in this way.
Yeah, so this is where the whole concept of what you keep talking about, asking questions and all that is the whole thing, that you are trying to dig deeper, you're trying to understand, and a perspective which otherwise they also might not have. So to bring that in, you need to have a totally open exploration happening. And for that open exploration, if you say, oh, I know which direction we have to go to, then in that case, then you're just taking them in that direction. So to open out the discussion.
And you deprive them of other opportunities. I mean, deprive them of this, of their right to decide for themselves, to find the solution which will work for their case, because they are the only one who know their case better than you. Even if you are a mediator, they know their case.
Exactly. So this is where I think the whole discussion, on one end, like I said, there is a certain kind of mediation which has developed where, like you said, lawyers coming in with a certain picture and taking them there kind of thing. Then like even Danny Weinstein also talks about it, that there is that kind of mediation which is not deeper. Like he's saying that his autobiography that he's writing or he's going to write is deep down, I'm shallow. He was in the session in the symposium also. He said that in the Evolution of a Mediator series, which I'm continuing with him, he said that there also. So that's another way of looking at it, how it's progressed. Because he said, look, if you look at this deeper thing that you're talking about in relation to philosophy, then jams will be empty because those mediators may not be looking at it from that perspective. So that's another way of looking at it, and mediation.
I agree.
So I think also I feel that, like I said, everything has its place, but the fact that this aspect of mediation, it's always a good time to take this forward, because then you broad base the concept, and then you bring in people, and if they'll connect with it, I'm telling you, the right people. That's why I'm saying that we identify those with the mediator mindset, because they're all out there. They don't know that that they are mediators, or maybe they're doing it and they know that, yes, we are this process I'm assisting people in resolving disputes, but they know everything about it. I mean, we ask them, they'll tell you everything that people know about mediation. So to even say that we can teach them, that also will not be required. It's just getting the right, like you said, you're getting into a training program and you say 12 people come in and 3 are the sort who will take it forward. I'm saying that if we identify, go out and ask families, communities, even children in school, and when they identify them, so we bring in those 12 people. So all 12 people are going to benefit from what Fidana is going to tell them, rather than only those 3 benefiting.
But there is still a benefit. I mean, even out of those out of, let's say, 10, if they decide not to become mediators, and if they are lawyers, for example, they bring their clients to mediation afterwards. And it's also good.
Yeah, they'll take back something. They'll take back something good out of the whole thing. But what I'm trying to do is like this mediation circle concept, that look, if we have the right people with the mediator mindset as, in a way, let's say central figure in the mediation, or everyone is central figure, the participants or everyone. But if we create that environment around them, they'll be able to reach many more people. So we will be able to expand the whole idea of, like, finally it is about preventing disputes. Finally, that's what you're saying, because if you take that mindset into your organization, into your school, or into your communities, into your families, if you bring that mindset, that is the long-term concept that we have to put across, that look, you have to prevent them. Of course, the resolution is where you start from, and being able to resolve, and with the right people, getting the right people. So that's the kind of an environment that, like I say, the culture of mediation that we have.
Yes, mediation culture.
So this is where we have to take it forward. But Fidana as a philosopher, now that's what we're saying, mediators are philosophers. So Fidana as a philosopher, how would you put out your philosophy? This is Fidana's philosophy. We're quoting Socrates today, someone will be quoting Fidana after many years.
I shared my thoughts about mediation as philosophy, or let's say not mediation as philosophy. I would say philosophical approach to mediation, but I do not consider myself as a philosopher. I'm a mediation and negotiation practitioner. I'm okay with that.
So let's put it into words. Let's say, okay, now forget the philosopher part. So if you have to put it into words, as to, of course, we've spoken about it, but today, just taking into a direction of bringing it out of a philosophy of life. One is, of course, in relation to conflict resolution. But if I ask you, Fidana, what is your philosophy of life? What would you say?
To be honest with myself and with people, to the extent which is possible. We cannot be honest 100% all the time, and it's also about being honest. But first of all, I would like to be honest with myself, and more conscious about what I'm doing, what I'm saying, whether I like it or not, whether I found it appropriate, no matter what is the issue, the matter. And as for people, for example, when they come to mediation and they expect me to be a magician to help them just to settle their dispute in a moment, and for example, they already in a court proceedings for 2 years, let's say. I'm not a magician, and I try to be honest, not to ensure them in something that I cannot provide. To be honest with myself and with other people, and to do what I love to do. Well, look, this is my life philosophy.
No, very important. I mean, like I said, these are things that, as a mediator, you would think this is what should be. This is taken for granted kind of thing. But actually, to be that kind of person is special. This is what I keep saying, that people.
Yeah, and especially to say no when you want to say no. Of course, there are different contexts of that. I mean, I don't want to stick it to cultures, because even within one culture, we can find people with high context and low context, but still, I mean, you can say no in different things. But if you, for example, I as a mediator communicating with a person, I can understand which context this particular person understands. And I use this context communicating with him or her. And if I want to say no, I say no. Maybe by different words, sometimes directly, straightforward. And another thing is that about my life philosophy, philosophy of living, is that we cannot be nice with everyone, and we should not be nice with everyone, because very often we can hear, so you should be nice with people. No, it does not work. We cannot be nice all the time with everyone, but we can be human. And I think it's very important in our times, remain human. Even, for example, if you do not like a person, but you have to deal, you have to communicate with him or her, you have to be human in any situation.
I think what you brought out is a very important point, that there is a difference between being nice and being kind. So niceness might not be the best thing, which I think people, it's a nice word to use, being nice. But I think, I mean, let's put out, I also, I mean, there are lots of such things you'll find, but let's put out some very basic one, because I really found this difference to be something that we have to put out there. Just, I mean, this is exactly from where you are coming. Something that is pleasing or agreeable, which might not be the best thing to do. So,
yeah, and especially, I mean, being nice, some people, it's like a formal, you know, formal concept, and just be nice and be fake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly where it comes from. That just to put out this whole, I'm being
for
nice.
me personally, it's difficult because everything is on my face.
No, which is important. I'm telling you, this is really important, because if people can actually do that, you will resolve a lot of things right there. Because just to make this whole agreeable, pleasing kind of thing on the outside doesn't help getting anywhere in those relationships. It might be for that temporary, it might be very temporary. But if you can go a little deeper and be able to understand, so you are actually being, in that sense, being nice. You're being kind. You want to reach out. So I think, look, these are things, Fidana, that's what I'm saying. If you bring out this aspect of yourself, this is going to be important for people to listen to that, because these are special things which everyone doesn't even think about. Because that's why I'm asking, I'm probing a little bit as much as I can. How much
human approach, yes, to everything.
Yeah, so I think that's something that kind of, I feel, gets missed out, and it all goes down to like the whole appearance part of it. But that won't take, that won't be, I mean, that won't be a long-term thing. So I think that's what you brought in is important. But the other thing about the authentic self, this is something that came up in April. I had done a symposium on heart, soul, spirituality, and mediation, because I keep saying these are important elements which get missed out. And when I say spiritual, it is not connected to religion. It is on a different plane altogether. So there, in that, the discussion on authentic self came, which of course is open to, I mean, discussions. So Fidana, you were not part of the symposium. It's difficult to get you into a symposium. So what is your view on, okay, heart, soul, spirituality? Yes. And also the authentic self. What are your thoughts on these things?
I have to leave in several minutes.
Yes, we only have, I know this can go on, but.
So authentic yourself, I mean, authentic, it's being yourself, and authentic is actually, even in the initial meeting, I mean, you know what is initial meeting, before mediation starts. This is if to speak about mediation and me as a mediator, when you have to demonstrate who you are, for example, even people have heard about you very good things, or maybe not very good things. This is a chance for them to know you better, to understand who you are as a mediator, who you are as a person. And during these 30 minutes, if you pretend, and if you say something about mediation that is not correct, that is not right, it will definitely influence, and if they agree for mediation, it will definitely influence the whole process in a negative sense. But true self, authentic, show yourself as you are. And I think it is easier, for me personally, it is easier to be authentic than to be someone I'm actually not.
Absolutely.
I mean, for me, it is easier. I don't know. maybe it comes with experience, with life experience, with professional experience, when you don't want and you don't have to pretend who you are, and you come to people. Of course, authentic, we still have different roles. I mean, I am as a mother, I am as a mediator, I am as a friend, I am as a sister, I don't know, as a daughter. But you don't have, I mean, these are different roles, but you still can be authentic, but in different roles. You don't open yourself as a woman, for example, when you are a mediator. And I had such an experience when I had to answer that in mediation, I'm a mediator, I'm not a woman, because of prejudice of one of the party, when he said that she's a woman, how could she help us to negotiate? So I said the only way to test is to start. And we started, and we finished, successfully finished in one session. And after the session, he asked me, so how did you do that as a woman, being a woman? And I said, I'm not a woman in mediation, I'm a mediator. And this is a secret. So in mediation, I'm a mediator, yes. Yeah, with my children, I'm a mother. And you still can be authentic, but in different roles.
Absolutely. I mean, this is something which, like I said, came up in that discussion. Like, I mean, of course, these are whole discussions by themselves, and Greg is here. Greg, you can say hi to us. You can say hi to Fidana. But on this aspect of heart, soul, spirituality, somewhere I have to, because Greg, of course, will also take us through that.
Hi, Greg.
So, but I mean, Greg, what I'm trying to do is, Fidana is a difficult person to get into a symposium. It's been into my shows. She's a very busy woman. So I'm trying to take her thoughts on on my symposium on heart, soul, spirituality. I mean, this is something you also would also be connected to, because Greg also believes in the humanistic approach to mediation. So, Fidana, you have a few minutes only, like you said. Quickly,
sorry, in 7 minutes I have to be in another place, and I have to get there. I have to get there.
You have to get there in 7 minutes.
Yes,
okay.
I have to get there.
Okay, no, then I won't take your time. But I'm saying, if you want to give us 1 minute on heart, soul, spirituality, please. Any thoughts on that?
I'm not professional in spirituality. Sorry.
No, because why this is a discussion that I have is because I keep saying that you're connecting at a different level. It's not only, like, of course, bringing your authentic self, definitely that aspect, but connecting to a different level. But I won't take you through that, Fidana. Thank you very much. Pleasure speaking to you. And I'm going to take time for mediator experiences with you. And
thank you for inviting and organizing this very important event on very important topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fidana.